Hi, beautiful. We're reading A Course in Miracles, the text, chapter 18, The Passing of the Dream, section 9, The Two Worlds. Paragraph 1. You have been told to bring the darkness to the light and guilt to holiness. And you have also been told that error must be corrected at its source. Therefore, it is the tiny part of yourself, the little thought that seems split off and separate, the Holy Spirit needs. The rest is fully in God's keeping and needs no guide. Yet this wild and delusional thought needs help because in its delusions, it thinks it is the Son of God. Whole and omnipotent, sole ruler of the kingdom, it's set apart to tyrannize by madness into obedience and slavery. This is the little part you think you stole from heaven. Give it back to heaven. Heaven has not lost it, but you have lost sight of heaven. Let the Holy Spirit remove it from the withered kingdom in which you set it off, surrounded by darkness, guarded by attack, and reinforced by hate. Within its barricades is still a tiny segment of the Son of God, complete and holy, serene and unaware of what you think surrounds it. Be you not separate, for the one who does surround it has brought union to you, returning your little offering of darkness to the eternal light. How is this done? It is extremely simple, being based on what this little kingdom really is. The barren sands, the darkness, and the lifelessness are seen only through the body's eyes. Its bleak sight is distorted, and the messages it transmits to you who made it to limit your awareness are little and limited, and so fragmented, they are meaningless. From the world of bodies made by insanity, insane messages seem to be returned to the mind that made it. And these messages bear witness to the world, pronouncing it as true. For you sent forth these messengers to bring this back to you. Everything these messages relay to you is quite external. There are no messages that speak of what lies underneath, for it is not the body that could speak of this. If its eyes perceive it not, its senses remain quite unaware of it, its tongue cannot relay its messages, yet God can bring you there, if you are willing to follow the Holy Spirit through seeming terror. I'm going to read that again. That's really potent. Yet God can bring you there, if you are willing to follow the Holy Spirit through seeming terror. We have to face our fears. Trusting Him not to abandon you and leave you there. For it is not His purpose to frighten you, but only yours. You are severely tempted to abandon Him at the outside ring of fear, but He would lead you safely through and far beyond. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Wow. God can bring you there if you are willing to follow the Holy Spirit through seeming terror, trusting Him not to abandon you and leave you there. So what does this mean? What comes up for me reading this is how often in our day-to-day life do we sit around imagining the worst? The ego is a fear mechanism. We're worrying about what could happen, what might have happened, or we're recriminating the past, what did happen. And it's all through this very negative lens, oftentimes. I remember there was one time I was hiking in the woods and I looked ahead and I saw a gentleman with his dog. And my mind started visualizing the dog attacking me and biting my leg and blood coming out of my leg. And I paused for a moment and was like, mind, why are you doing that? Did Netflix hire you to write a horror movie? And my mind was like, no. I'm like, why are you doing that then? And the mind was like, I don't know. It's just trying to protect you. I'm like, how is that protecting me? That's insane. And I had to have a little talk with my own mind about, I don't need these scary visuals anymore. If that's that dog's on a leash for one thing, so I'm totally fine. And if it starts snarling at me, I trust myself that I can back up and I'll be okay. I don't need you to come up with worst case scenarios for me anymore. Interestingly enough, after having that talk with my mind, it stopped doing that. But it's so interesting how it talks about our little kingdom, dark, lifeless, bleak. Because that's often how we perceive when we are hostage to ego instead of host to God. When we're host to God, the world is a miracle. And everyone we come across is a child of God, beautiful, perfect, whole, and complete. Our playmate, here to play with us. We don't compete with them. We're not here to compete, we're here to complete. Because they're a part of us. They're such vastly different thought systems. And one is true, God's thought system is true, and the ego's thought system is based on delusion. And it's interesting saying that, the body, certainly not the ego, can't bring us to truth, but God can if we're willing to go through the terror of letting go and walking into the unknown, trusting that God will bring us safely to the other side. And I love that again and again, A Course in Miracles says, we only have to be willing to know the truth. We only have to be willing to accept the truth, and God will fill in the gap. Sometimes when I feel myself in resistance to anything, I will fill into it of, okay, am I willing to feel better? Maybe I don't even want to feel better, but am I willing to want to feel better? And sometimes from that space, I can be like, yeah, I don't want to feel better right now. I want to feel miserable, but I'm willing to want to feel better. I start there. And by the Spirit to help me bridge the gap into actually choosing to feel better. Not that we're not allowed to have negative emotions or sad emotions. And sometimes you have to feel it to heal it and be with it with loving, unconditional presence, non-judgment. Just, this is how I'm feeling. I'm here with you. I love you. All of you. But let's be honest. The ego is insane. And there are times where we would rather have misery than happiness. Or as A Course in Miracles says, we'd rather be right than happy. We would trade in happiness for the ego's delusional truth. That's not true. Because it's based on a very narrow and limited perspective. Whereas the Holy Spirit can connect us to what's actually true. Through letting go of grievances, letting go of fear. You are severely tempted to abandon him at the outside ring of fear, but he would lead you safely through and far beyond. So today and moving forward, may we be trusting. It says in A Course in Miracles that we're afraid to look within, but the way out is through. Joseph Campbell once said, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek." Whatever you're most afraid of, that's where your treasure is. That's where the ego hid it so you wouldn't find it and know the truth. But we're going to be brave and go there. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. I'll see you soon.